So today I'm out for a bit of a challenge. I want to see if I can pick up a new tree for under $20 for a bonsai styling. And I'm going to my local hardware shop. It's midwinter, so I'm hoping they've got some stock that's just dormant, and I've got it on clearance. So I've picked myself up this plant. Definitely nothing special. Still wasn't as cheap as I'd hoped for the trunk size. However, it does have a little bit of a trunk there. A Boronia Pixie, so it looks like it'll have some nice flowers. It cost me $7.95, so reduced down from $12. And what I'm going to do is basically get it out of that pot, in which it's quite dry at the moment. I probably will only prune a couple of branches, and I'll put it into this basket, which is obviously a very free draining basket. I've already thrown a bit of weed mat in the bottom so it doesn't fall straight through, and see if I can get that to grow into something healthy, and then start to style it up once it's a bit healthier. All right, so today it is the 19th of July. It's a pretty cold, wintry day. I think it's 11 degrees, not currently raining, but not great either, rather overcast. So what I'm going to do is get this out of this pot and just have a little bit of a look at the roots. Okay, so reasonably root bound. And I'm basically just going to carefully pull this out. Just try and find where the nicer nabari or roots start. So I'm trying not to break them off, but some are. It's rather dry at the moment. Whether I should give it a good soak first, I'm not sure, but I've already got it open, so let's just keep going. So yeah, underneath it's very much root bound. More moisture down there, but let's use a chopstick. So I'm basically not going to work on getting it all undone. I just want to really get the top a little bit more exposed, and then I'll just plant it as it is and let it start to sort its roots out, because it is midwinter. It's not the ideal time to be doing this, but it's just a low-cost tree. See what I can do with it. Just a bit more on this side. It's rather tight in this patch, so I'm just trying to find a spot to get in there. There's a bit of a hollow. So I'm hoping as I go down to find some thicker roots. I've got some, still not very thick, but some medium-sized ones. There's a thicker one down there. So I'm just going to see if I can dig down to that level all the way around. So basically, just in here, have one of the thicker roots. There's actually a very thick root curling around just at this level. Ferguson chirping away inside there. I had him out of the cage, and when I just came back home he was fluttering all over the room and wasn't really sure what he was doing, so I showed him the cage and he jumped straight back in. It's still open on top, but he does prefer to be inside it. Okay, so that will do for my digging down. I've pretty much exposed to about the same level all the way down, uncovered a couple of nicer roots. And some of these finer top ones I'll just chop off with my scissors. So that will do for my soil work at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll take this pot, and I'm actually just going to throw all of this in the bottom because I've got a lot of filling to do, and that can sit on the weed mat at the bottom. If I had that all the way up, it would just fall straight through the holes. In fact, the holes are probably still a bit big for a lot of the soil I've got, but I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get it to hold in there. Okay. So this is my predominantly aggregate mix. It's only got about 30%, maybe even less looking at that, of organic material. It's got a lot of sand in it, a lot of pumice, and just a little bit of fine rock. And as you can see, it is falling through, but it will stabilise in time. So I'm just going to do a little bit of poking around to push the rock in between the roots at that point. So I'm basically just, the bottom part I hadn't disturbed, just pushing it in close to that. So I can feel that as I'm going down. I'm just going right around the edges, and then I'll fill up some more around these top roots. Bit of a spray. There's a lot more roots on one side than there are on the other. So this side I'm looking at now just has one major root down low, but not much newer root. So we'll basically just tap that in between the roots. Just trying to remove as many of the air pockets as we can. It's a funny thing, we want air in there, which is why we put the pumice and the bigger aggregate, but we don't want air pockets. So the reason that I'm going for a larger pot with the holes is it will allow the roots to spread, and a bigger root system will mean a bigger trunk ultimately. So it'll probably stay in this pot for at least a year, and it will just start to build up the trunk, get itself back to a healthy state, and then we can start to work out how we're going to style it. So all I'm going to do is take out a couple of thinner branches from the bottom here, and the rest of it I will leave, because the more lengthy branches we have, again, the thicker that will make those branches and the trunk and branches below. Do you ever notice the funny faces you make when you're doing stuff like this? So possibly not, because you don't look at yourself in a mirror while doing it, but I see when I'm editing up the videos that I pull this funny tight-lipped face, and I've tried to edit it out, but I think I'm just going to have to accept that that's what I do, and you can all laugh at me and I'll just have to accept that. Okay, so I'm going to give that a good watering, so I'll pause while I go off and water that. Okay, so it's well watered. Now, I was just thinking while I was doing this, a lot of people, including myself when I first started, think that bonsai is about grabbing a tree like this and putting it in a pretty shallow pot and throwing some wire on, shaping it up. But that really isn't the best approach. To try and build a tree up, you've got to start from the bottom and work up. So we need a good root system, which is what we're doing with this. So really well draining soil, a larger pot or basket, and that will help those roots to radiate out. So once that's developed a better root system, I can cut a fair bit of the lower bole off. We'll then have a lot more radial roots coming out that I can work with. And at that point, I'm hoping this trunk will be maybe a third bigger again. But we have approximately, spin it around to the wide point faces me, I'd say about 15 millimeters wide. So I would hope within the next year that's up to about 20 millimeters. So I'm not sure whether we'll make that or that's the main trunk, but I'll leave them both on there. Definitely lose these two, so I'll take them off now. So I've used my concave cutters just to give a nice, reasonably close nip. And another one there. Just to keep it tidy. And put some wound compound on. Now my wound compound, no, it's not tomato sauce. It is a mixture of linseed oil, beeswax and eucalyptus oil. So it's got this, looks rather disgusting really, but it's good for the plant, so it'll stop moisture and stuff coming out of those wounds and stop other insects and diseases getting into them. So just rub a little bit of that on there. The eucalyptus oil part of it is actually an antiseptic, so that also helps to keep the bacteria and things away. At this stage, we'd say it's got two possible fronts. It's almost the same from both sides. It's just a matter of where branches appear and where they don't. So hopefully we'll get, when it starts to come back into health, some back budding. I don't know anything about this particular species of plant, so it could be a total waste of time, but we'll see what it does. Keep you updated on this over the next 6 to 12 months, and hopefully we'll get somewhere.